Welcome to issue 85 of Totally Dope, a weekly video newsletter with a digital tip, an observation about the world, a personal note from me, and an energy industry insight. Here's a digital tip. Replace that tired and risky self-declared compliance with digitally enabled evidence-based compliance. It improves safety and reliability. As a kid, I didn't always brush my teeth, but I always said that I did. This is what you call self-declared compliance. When no one's looking or they don't look too closely, people can report the work is done, whether it was or not. Now, some bad actors in oil and gas still behave this way. You know the drill. Tick the box, sign the form, and move on. There's no proof the work was done, let alone done correctly, and the inspector might not even show up. The days of adding more supervisors to stay on top of all this isn't going to work, so what we need is better evidence. Well, here's a thought. Use a cell phone to capture photos, video, and field data, and a cloud system to validate the work in near real time. Now you have evidence-based verification. No more chasing questionable paperwork, just review the actual work and improve safety and reliability in one go. Here's an observation. It's the software, stupid. Recently, I've been marveling at software interfaces, why they work and why I love them. Well, years ago, I was brought in to diagnose a stalled software rollout at an auto glass installer. After 2 years, it was live in just 2 locations. That's it. Well, at first, I thought it was a classic change resistance problem. You know, we've always done it that way, that sort of thing. But I was completely wrong. It was software design. It turns out that the system had been built for a wholesale business, not an installation shop. Big, beefy guys lifting heavy glass, working with their hands all day, lots of gloves and glue, and they were expected to use these clunky screens, keyboards, and mice just to fill in a bunch of forms. I mean, just classic. They worked around it at the time with pen and paper and a whole lot of Post-it notes. We see the same pattern in industrial software today. The software doesn't quite fit, so the workers resort to Excel. Well, in my personal life, I just don't tolerate poor user experience any longer. I just abandon that product and move on. Well, your field workers are no different. If your software doesn't fit how the work actually gets done in the field, stop blaming the user. It's probably the software. Here's a personal note. I've had the same mobile phone plan for a few years now. As part of my little sovereign technology migration, I needed to deal with some of those recurring bills. And wouldn't you know, the monthly mobile phone bill is now one of the most expensive. Who knew? $200 a month for 2 phones. The plan is $90 each plus tax for 30 gigabytes of data and all you can eat text and phone calls, within reason, of course. But the latest plans are $75 for 175 gigabytes. Clearly, these plans are for people who binge watch a whole lot of YouTube on their phones. Might not be you, but it's certainly your kids. And by the way, the $75, that isn't even the promotional price, it's full rack. What bothers me is that the service providers do not automatically update their contracts with their customers. Why is it it's the customer's responsibility to stay on top of the company's pricing to make sure that you're being treated fairly? If you're selling technology to your clients and you introduce a lower standard pricing for your latest customers, you really need to let your existing customers know. Don't let them find out on their own. It's a really bad look. And finally, here's an insight into energy. I'm no energy trader, but in my view, oil prices should be higher, much higher. I have no idea how the market has been held together and for so long. It's been 7 weeks since the strait was closed, no tankers are moving, and 20% of the global supply chain is pretty much drained. The market has been relying on what I call the 3 Ps: propitious circumstances, good planning, and policy. Luckily, there was lots of oil on water, specifically sanctioned Russian and Iranian crude, but that's been drawn now down to near zero. Producers, back then, sensing trouble, built up some stocks ahead of the initial bombing runs. These long-planned strategic petroleum reserves, well, they're being emptied too, and quickly. Japan will be out of crude reserves sometime in May. And some policies are playing a role. Demand-side conservation, work from home, carpooling, 4-day work weeks. This has shaped consumption at the margins. Now you can see why state-owned producers try to keep prices down. They don't want to antagonize their customers. It's bad for business. And I suspect that governments everywhere are leaning on suppliers to hold the line. And that works. Until it doesn't. You might expect the independent traders to profit from this chaos, and they would be pushing prices up to where they belong, but don't count on that either. Vitol, the world's largest oil trader, reportedly has lost hundreds of millions betting on weaker crude prices and cheaper jet fuel. They got that wrong. This feels to me like we're all happily coiling a spring with no idea about what will happen if we over-torque it. Well, I can say this much. When it releases, it won't be gradual. It'll be with a bang. Until next week.